being open-minded has its benefits in so many things in life, but including the offshore tax planning space. One of the things that I see when I'm working with someone one-on-one is the more open-minded they are to where they want to go and spend their time, where they want to go and live, what they want their bases to be if they're going to live in different places, how they're going to live their life basically. The more open they are to different options there, the better the result is if their goal is to reduce their tax savings. And so on the flip side, when someone comes to me and says, hey, I'm married to this one option, that's when it becomes more difficult. My name is Andrew Henderson. This is Nomad Capitalist, and we help people find legal ways to reduce their tax, both on the personal side and the business side, 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs, by, as we say, going where you're treated best. And so the big takeaway for me on lifestyle is don't be addicted to one place. That's the killer. If you come in and you're addicted to one place, that can get in the way. Now, if you're addicted to moving to Dubai, then getting you to a zero tax plan is obviously going to be a lot easier. But that's rarely the case. You know, people see me and I live in a lot of under the radar places. People, places that are great, but that aren't on everyone's radar screen yet. The Kuala Lumpurs, the Tbilisis, recently more in Yerevan and Bogota, and others. Montenegro. I tend to eschew where everyone else is going. Everyone else says Croatia, I say Montenegro. Everyone else says Medellin, I say Bogota. Kuala Lumpur versus Bangkok. And there's no good or bad place to go. I always say, there's an energy in each place, and if you're attracted to an energy in a place, then that's where you should go. But understand, there's two parts to a tax issue when it comes to offshore. Where are you and your business leaving, and where are you and your business arriving? Now, the business is easy because you don't necessarily care where the business is incorporated. But the personal side is harder. One of the biggest challenges that I see people dealing with is, and I've seen this a number of times, someone will come and say, hey, my wife is willing to move, but only if it's to Spain. And, Spain has a few tax-saving programs going on, but it's nothing that's extreme. You're still going to pay a relatively moderate rate of tax. And there's still a lot of planning, and it's just expensive, and it's kind of more difficult. And if that's what someone wants, then we'll do it, and we have done it. But what's the difference between Spain and Portugal? What's the difference between Spain and so many other places? I think that the challenge that I always talk about now is that countries are brand names, and certain people have an affinity for certain brand names. I just throw the brand names out. In fact, I don't want the brand names. I think that's part of what's made my strategy in general easier, not only on a tax side, but really just on a personal lifestyle side, getting better deals, just being more free in the places where I live, is that I don't want the brand names. Here's my message to folks who have a focus on one place that may not be tax optimized. Because again, if you're leaving your country and your country's high tax and you're going to another high tax country, you're not really solving any problems, right? As I always say, if you want to leave Canada and move to France, you've solved nothing. Maybe you've made it worse. So the idea of simply leaving your country is not the only piece. It's also where are you going. And so what are the countries that we typically see? Spain comes up a lot. Indonesia, for Bali. Thailand also sometimes comes up. Maybe I've said so many. Maybe I've said France in high tax, and people don't really ask about that. But those are some of the big places. Now, Thailand's actually not that bad. Thailand is more of an issue of immigration planning with some basic tax planning. But Spain and I guess Italy comes up occasionally. Indonesia, surprisingly, difficult on tax. That's probably the biggest one, is people want to live in Bali, and they've got their grip on it. And what's interesting, is a couple years ago, I was seeing all this stuff out of the kind of like the digital nomad community about how Thailand was cracking down on their visa runs. They would go for 30 days and then they would leave and they'd come right back, literally the same day many times. And Thailand was like, listen, we've had enough of this. No. And so, they had to find these interesting ways to get in. They would have to take a Thai class at the local university, or they'd have to join some kind of, fighting school or something, and there's all these different ways to get different visas because the tourist visa thing wasn't working anymore to essentially live in Thailand, right? Thailand said, we don't want you to live here as tourists, we just want you to come and then go. And so I remember saying to myself that people were like tying themselves up in so much in knots, and I'm saying, you know what, they don't want you. I mean, there's ways to immigrate to Thailand. They have a permanent residence program for investors. They have a Thai elite visa program. We've made videos on these topics. You can find them. But if you're not investing or contributing to their economy in some way, they're like, what do we want you for? And my thing was, if someone doesn't want you, why do you want them? Why do you fight so hard for someone who doesn't want you? I mean, it's like being clingy in a relationship when the relationship is obviously over. Go to Malaysia, go to Vietnam, go somewhere else. And people just clung to Thailand. I don't get that. On the other side, we talk to people who want to live in Bali. Indonesia is not the world's most tax-friendly place, to put it mildly. And so if you're going to live in Bali year-round, and that's the thing, like the only thing, that's going to make your tax planning more difficult. And again, here's my message. Be open-minded. Now, I'm not an option collector. I like to find the best option and dive right in. And in fact, that's the process that we run these the folks that we help through, is let's start with the end in mind, and then let's go through a process to figure out what's the best way to get to that end that serves you and serves your lifestyle. That said, I am not a miracle worker. I cannot magically make France or Indonesia or whatever country not tax you. I mean, they have certain rules, and those are the rules. So we need to have some flexibility, and we need to have some open-mindedness to choosing the right countries where we go. Or we need to be moving enough to where we can establish ourselves in one country and then spending time in the other countries. Nothing wrong with spending 4 months a year in Indonesia. When you start spending 11 months a year, it becomes difficult. Same with a lot of other countries that tax people on a worldwide basis. So, I grew up in the United States, and I remember, everyone talks California, California, California. California, what a great brand name. People sing about it. The California girls, the California dreamin', all that. What a great brand name. But yet, you go to California, the beaches aren't that good. There are better looking girls other places, and the weather's not the best weather. I mean, it's nice, but whatever you like about California, you can find somewhere else. You can find it in Mexico. You can find it in Bali. You can find it in numerous other places. I mean, every year I see some new country opening up a new beach resort, right? I mean, I own a summer home in Montenegro. My biggest risk there, I think, is that Albania is going to develop their beach resorts to the south, and there's going to be more competition in the area, and we'll lose tourist traffic that drives property values. There's beach resorts coming up every time you turn your head. And so whatever it is that you like about a place, whatever it is you like about Paris, I promise you can find some of those elements somewhere else. Now, certain things, cities have an energy, as we said, that's not always replaceable. But the question is, do you want to save money? If you're a 7 or 8 figure entrepreneur, I'm sorry, I can't help you move to France, unless you want to pay a lot of money in tax. Okay. And so the message is, don't be addicted to one place. Be open-minded to alternatives. And understand, most importantly, that whatever it is that you like about a place, we can find and we can replicate somewhere else. There are countries that have zero tax, are tax-friendly, have tax exemptions, have territorial tax, exclude your foreign income, have lump sum tax that's low, have a flat tax that's low. Whatever the case may be, you can save tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars a year in some cases, and that money over the years is going to compound. And you know what? Maybe you did that for 10 years, and then you say you can't take it anymore, and you go back to California, or then you live in Bali. When you sell your business, and you have all the money you've accumulated, and you've made millions of extra dollars over the years by living this way. What I think you'll find, however, is that living in a place that's tax-friendly isn't nearly as bad. And if you step away from the brand names, if you realize that Spain isn't the only place that it has to offer what it has to offer, and that actually, by the way, when you go to Spain, as my friends and I once did, and the restaurant said, we're actually out of alcohol, we couldn't pay the bill to the supplier, you'll realize Spain isn't actually as good as you thought it was either. And that's what this nomad capitalist lifestyle is all about. That's what I want to impart. The things that you think are amazing may not be quite as amazing as you think. We were talking about this, about folks who go to Paris, they've built up this image in their mind that, like we were joking, they have to be actually hospitalized went the joke, because they were so shocked that Paris wasn't this perfect, amazing place. No place is perfect. And so be open-minded. Don't be married to one place. This is a thing that gets in people's way at times, is I can only go to Spain or I can only go to Indonesia. There are alternatives. We'll help you find them. You can keep more of your own money and you'll live a great life. How can Nomad Capitalist help you? 4 ways. Number 1, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to make sure you get our new video every day. Number 2, get a copy of Nomad Capitalist, the book. You'll learn a lot of my personal experiences over a dozen years of studying this stuff, as well as exactly some of the strategies that you can use to build your Nomad Capitalist plan. Number 3, if you're not sure where to start, but you want to come and learn from my team and I, you want to come and mingle with like-minded people, learn more about our live conference, Nomad Capitalist Live. It's coming up soon. And number 4, if you want some help right now because you've got a burning issue, you need something solved, you want to lower your taxes, get a second passport, or build the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle of your dreams, go to nomadcapitalist.com and click on Become a Client.